All right, so we're here at Oxy College with Matt Sedillo. Just finished up a awesome performance in the Troy Auditorium. Matt, I'm not even going to ask you where you started or how you started because you're like full swing in it already. Um, Tell us about the experience that you're having right now, touring with your poetry and it being um, your main lifeline right now.
Um, well, it's interesting. I mean, for people that want to I don't know, whatever it is you do, if you want to get on the college circuit, the one thing I would say is that you got to really prepare for the fact that colleges don't always pay. They're not always prompt with their payment, and no matter how much you get at the person who brought you, they don't work in accounts payable, and it's only the people that work in accounts payable that can actually speed up or delay your check. And those people don't know you. They'll never meet you, and the angrier you get at the people that brought you in, the more likely they're not going to bring you back. So like you got to really prepare for that. The fact that some schools take a long time to get you those checks. So just that's kind of one of the things I would tell anybody that would be interested in the college circuit to just be aware of that kind of pitfall. But in terms of it being my life, I think that even when I was working in retail, it was still like how I would define my life. It was the main definer of my life, and whether or not you're able to do it full time, if you write poetry and that's what you're most passionate about, that's what you are, and these other jobs you take are just the jobs you take. So I kind of feel like at this point in time, I'm just very lucky. I'm just very fortunate, and I feel very, very fortunate about that. In terms of being able to travel a lot, it's an interesting life. It's an interesting life. It's very interesting to go places and talk to people and and meet people in this kind of heightened sense of themselves. You know what I mean? Because you know, if you're like a good writer, you don't get people thinking about. And I am a good writer. I mean, I don't know how good I am, but I'm good, right? Good enough to be good. Um, people hear what you say and they don't think about you and your story. They think about their own stories. They think about their own lives. They think about the things that affected them, right? If you can bring them in and get them involved enough. And so you meet people at this very heightened expression of themselves, and you do it all the time. You're constantly on the road and you're just meeting people in these heightened states of self. And so it's just this intense, you know, um, moments. So that's really interesting to live life where you're meeting people, and the experiences are very like powerful. They're very powerful, and it's not just like, oh, the writing was powerful and I'm so great. No, it's more like they're responding. So they're coming with the velocity of their lives, so the velocity of their lived experience. The fact that the things you said they have experienced and they feel it too, and they're coming with the weight of all these things that have happened to them, and you're like colliding, and for me, these are things I practice over and over and over again, run it as a drill over and over and over again. So for me, sometimes I'm in it and sometimes I'm just doing it. But for them, oftentimes it's not like that. They're coming to me with the full velocity of their life, and it's like all of a sudden you're wrapped up in this moment, and it's a really powerful experience. I mean, it's a really powerful place to live such a large portion of my life. So I'm very grateful. I'm just very appreciative. I'm very happy.
You also have your first book, Matt. Tell us a little bit about that, what that experience was like, and what's up and coming.
So my first book came out in 2010, and it was published by Casa de Poesia, and it was called "For What I Might Do Tomorrow," which was just a line taken from one of the poems. And they just saw me at an open mic and were like, "I want to publish you, right?" And I didn't know what that meant, and I was whatever. I had only been doing poetry at that point for maybe going out publicly doing poetry for about under a year. And so I just sent him an email of what I thought were like, I think I had 25 poems total, and he ended up publishing that email. He spell checked it and whatever, but he ended up publishing that email, and that's how "For What I Might Do Tomorrow" came.
That's the way to write a manuscript.
Yeah. That's the way that book came together. So I was obviously ecstatic about the fact that this book was coming out, and that the fact that like I was so new to the scene, and so I was very happy about that. I was very excited about that, and from the book it turned into one thing after another, and I was able to use that book in order to start booking colleges more. I was able to, and the more college I was able to book, the easier it was to book colleges. The more college I could book, the easier it was to like have like certain colleges make me part of their archives. Like here at Oxy, I actually was part of this thing I was working on called the 3-act poem. I mean, in the classroom, it was actually graded material, but that came from like having that book published. I mean, all of it kind of like began with that.
So tell us about your upcoming book.
So the upcoming book's going to be also published with the Flower Song Press, and I'm very excited. We're going to be doing a number of things with this press here in Los Angeles. There's a number of people that were that I've spoken to Edward about potentially getting published and really building a presence out here in California the way he has done so incredibly in Texas. Texas and California are two largest states, and so with that, it'd be really kind of two largest states in the Southwest, and so we're really excited about the idea of building a flower song a presence here, like they have in Texas, and so that's really exciting. But my book, Mowing Leaves of Grass, is what it is called, and yes, it is definitely what you think it is. It's a reference to Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass, which is an ode to manifest destiny. So I figured what better title for my book, coming out in the era of Trump, to really just lay it all bare about, here I am, this Chicano dude, this Mexican American guy, this Mexican dude, like writing this book of poetry, in this era, and basically saying, fuck Walt Whitman. Fuck Walt Whitman is an Art LeBeau dedication. That's in there. So that's kind of the spirit of the book, man.
That's coming out this fall.
That's coming out this fall, September. So I'm really excited about it. It's got poems like that. It's got poems like Pilgrim, Mowing Leaves of Grass, La Reina, like all these poems I'm kind of well known for, that people really like. A bunch of them are in there. So.
And just to wrap up, then tell us about your take on the trip to Cuba.
Well, I'm really excited when Jose Prado originally brought the idea to me to go to Cuba. He's just like, let's go to Havana, and then after that, everything's kept unfolding one thing after another. Then it was like, okay, it's gonna be at Casa de las Americas, and I was like, okay, well, I know what that is, and then but then I did a little more research, and I was like, holy crap, right? And so then that was like got more exciting, and then he was talking about building a team of poets to go. And so like I'm like, okay, well, leave me in charge of building the team of poets, I tell him, and we'll divide labor up this way, right? And so when he agreed to that, that was really thrilling, and I knew immediately the people I wanted to bring with me, and so of course you, Anna, and we're really, I couldn't, I was just really hoping Luis would say yes, and so when Luis said yes, that was just like this real dream come true. So it's really exciting to me. Anytime I get to work with Luis, I'm really excited. I'll never forget. For me, like a lot of this is like kind of like, it's really exciting, but like because I was kind of the point person, there's like these kind of narrative arcs, right, of the people I'm inviting. So like I have this like kind of like in my mind this like kind of like arc with Anna, and like how I've seen her over the years. How she's like developed and how she's pushed this press, and how she's like always pushing to get to this next level of this I've seen her progress, and I've seen her push her thing, and I've seen her go through a lot of doubts and insecurities that we all do, and I myself too. And me and her had shared that. We shared that with each other, and as this growing artist, and to see her, and to be able to like say, okay, come, let's go to Cuba, right? It's really great, And then like I see that with you, and like how you and I both we both similar backgrounds, going to the Alhambra Library and spinning the wheel.
Yeah.
and then
I didn't know you back then, though.
No, you didn't know me back then, but it's just funny, like these little kind of parallel lives, and then the East Side Cafe, and over at at Holy Grounds, and just all these different like memories and experiences, and going to Cuba. And then with Luis, I'll never forget that AWP, with that AWP offsite, and he was receiving like a Lifetime Achievement Award, And he says, everyone says that we're nothing but a bunch of crabs in a barrel, but that's not true. Sanders Cisneros helped me. Herrera helped me. He said, he needed one more person. But he said, yeah, Sanders Cisneros helped me, and Juan Felipe Herrera helped me, and I'm working with a young man in the audience. Some of you may know him, Matt Sedillo, right? And for him to have said that in that moment in front of a crowd full of people, and we were doing a lot of work together back then, but like that was just really, that was such a powerful experience, and it gave me so much thrust and so much confidence to move forward that like with what I was doing, because it's very difficult to put yourself out there. It's very difficult to really to be bold and to really say like, no, I aspire to be the very best. That's very, it's hard. And so to have that level of encouragement, and to have somebody who's achieved as much as he has place you in that kind of lineup is just really just like, wow, like that's a lot to live up to. And then with this trip, I feel like, well, it's do or die. Like, is it true or not? And so that's kind of where I'm at in my life right now. Like, it's kind of like really like, like, is it true or not? And so like, I think I'm proving it. Yeah.
Matt Sedillo told me he wants to be one of the best political poet in America. And I told him I'm going to give him a run for his money. I love him. He's my brother, but I like a challenge.
On that note.